really is all in your head. Nightly News begins now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams, reporting tonight from Los Angeles.
Good evening. Tomorrow night at this time, we'll be in Las Vegas preparing to host the Democratic debate in a race that has veered off into the issue of race over these past few days. While some cooler heads in the Democratic Party continue to say this is much ado about very little, several campaign operatives continue nonetheless to hurl accusations back and forth about what Senator Clinton and her husband, the former president, were trying to say days ago about Barack Obama, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., even former President Lyndon Johnson. And in this history-making presidential race, this fight has gotten pretty ugly and pretty personal decidedly early. And on the Republican side, this is the eve of an important primary in Michigan and the test of a favorite son there in some troubling economic times. Before we get to the Democrats, we'll begin with the Republicans tonight. NBC's Ron Allen is covering for us. He's in Detroit tonight. Ron, good evening.
Good evening to you, Brian. One reason Michigan moved its primary to January was to focus the nation's attention on what's being called a one-state recession. And now everyone is listening very carefully and closely to what the candidates have to say.
These guys bought me, but this is a little nicer, I got to tell you.
Michigan native son Mitt Romney touring Detroit's auto show and touting his ability to turn around struggling businesses. Today promised a huge $20 billion investment in the struggling auto industry.
If I am president, I will not rest until Michigan has come back.
It's a long way to go. At 7.4%, Michigan's unemployment rate is highest in the nation. 76,000 jobs lost last year, 25,000 gone just from Chrysler. Businesses from other industries are also leaving. Michigan ranks second in delinquent payments and third in foreclosures because of the credit crunch. John McCain again today has been warning Michigan the hard truth is that most lost jobs are not coming back, and workers need retraining and education.
My friends, as President of the United States, I will herald a new day for Michigan.
Faced with a changing economy, Tracy Tyner is learning new computer skills at Goodwill Industries. She's a single mom with 2 daughters in college who's lost administrative jobs in banking and the auto industry.
You have to look to family to help. You have to look to your savings. If you have savings, you have to look sometimes to social services to help you.
Small businesses are also hurting. Linda Jalacour's finance firm helps companies buy new equipment. She's lost nearly half her clients and is doing more business out of state.
People are afraid to buy. They're afraid to spend money. They're afraid to commit to a long-term contract.
Her husband, Bill Snyder, owns an auto glass and upholstery business. It's down by more than 60%.
Well, I would say we're struggling to stay alive. Yeah.
It's that bad?
Oh, yes, for me it is, yes.
Jalacour and Snyder both like Mike Huckabee, especially his so-called fair tax proposal to replace all income taxes with a 23% sales tax. Critics say that would hurt consumers while benefiting business.
Folks, it could transform our economy and bring some of these jobs back.
Polls say McCain and Romney are very close, with Huckabee a bit behind them. And for Romney, who grew up here and whose father was governor here, most analysts say it is a state that he really needs to win. Brian?
Ron Allen in Detroit. We should add the Democrats aren't officially recognizing the results of their own side Michigan primary. We do get more now on this presence of race as an issue today in the Democratic race for president. Andrea Mitchell has our report from Washington.
To rebut accusations that she had injected race into the Democratic contest and demeaned the work of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., today Hillary Clinton tried to portray herself as an heir to Dr. King's legacy at a labor rally in his honor.
Both Senator Obama and I know that we are where we are today because of leaders like Dr. King.
Thank you. I need you. I need you.
The Clinton campaign was in damage control after telling Fox News last week.
Dr. King's dream began to be realized when President Lyndon Johnson passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
That offended many African Americans and instantly became an issue in South Carolina, where blacks are half the Democratic voters in next week's primary.
Senator Clinton realized that she had not fully explained. I think she used a little bit of a shorthand.
Historians of the period say Dr. King deserves the lion's share of the credit.
We wouldn't have had the change in civil rights. Lyndon Johnson would not have had the opportunity to do this without this backdrop of what King and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference had been doing.
But instead of apologizing, Clinton blamed the Obama campaign for distorting her remarks. Barack Obama called that ludicrous. Bill Clinton, who had been his wife's attack dog against Obama in New Hampshire, tried to make peace today on a black radio show.
It's not surprising that these sort of things will happen. They just happen. I think it's very important not to overreact to them.
Bill Clinton didn't try to defend a prominent supporter, black entertainment television founder Bob Johnson, who Sunday once again raised Obama's acknowledged youthful drug use, something the campaign has promised not to do.
Hillary and Bill Clinton, who have been deeply and emotionally involved in black issues, when Barack Obama was doing something in the neighborhood that I won't say what he was doing, but he said it in his book.
All this led experts to worry that this historic campaign between a woman and an African-American man now threatens to divide Democrats along racial lines.
They really are playing with fire in this because African Americans have been the most loyal group within the Democratic coalition for many, many years.
Campaigning in Nevada, Obama responded to NBC's Lee Cowan.
I think that there's some intentionality on the part of the Clinton campaign to knock us off message. I mean, we are doing well, and I feel confident that if we continue to stay focused on what we're going to do to help the people of Nevada and the rest of the country, that the outcomes will lead to me being the nominee.
Late today, Clinton was still trying to reach out to African Americans, particularly women, by taping the Tyra Banks show, which Obama appeared on last fall. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, Washington.
John Edwards has also shown some late progress in some of the polling in Nevada. And we mentioned tomorrow night's debate. Tim Russert and I will be in Las Vegas to moderate the event. It will air live on MSNBC starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Now to medical news and some dramatic findings from a new study of the blockbuster cholesterol drug Zetia. The study shows the drug may not actually prevent heart attacks and strokes. And now experts are wondering if millions of Americans are taking a medication that doesn't deliver on its promise. Our report from NBC's Tom Costello.
He chose Zetia. Zetia helps lower my cholesterol differently.
The ads have helped Schering-Plough and Merck grab 20% of the $22 billion market for cholesterol-lowering drugs. Today, after evaluating clinical trial data for nearly 2 years, the makers of Zetia and Vytorin admitted there is no evidence the drugs actually prevent heart attacks, strokes, or even death. Cleveland Clinic cardiology chairman Stephen Nissen calls the news shocking.
One of the most widely used cholesterol-lowering drugs has proven to be ineffective compared to an older generic drug.
Zetia is a cholesterol-lowering drug, but not a statin like Lipitor and Zocor. Most people take Zetia in the form of Vytorin, which combines Zetia with Zocor. Vytorin did cut cholesterol levels, but plaque actually grew faster in patients taking Vytorin. Industry watchdog Dr. Sid Wolf has been warning about Vytorin for years.
The drug industry has misled the public over and over and over again, and has also misled doctors.
Schering-Plough insists the study involved just 720 patients, and a bigger study with 10,000 patients is now underway. Some 800,000 Americans take either Zetia or Vytorin every day. Now some cardiologists say those patients should consider switching to a standard or generic cholesterol-lowering statin drug. Zetia and Vytorin earned Schering-Plough and Merck more than $4 billion last year.
I do think the FDA is now going to have to take a close look at the very aggressive advertising campaigns for these drugs, which suggest benefits which have not proven to be the case.
Now, after congressional investigators and cardiologists demanded the research, patients have it too. Tom Costello, NBC News, Washington.
Also making news tonight, some wild winter weather beginning in New England, where a fast-moving nor'easter dropped a foot of snow inland, 6 inches of snow and slush along the coast. Schools were closed, power lines downed, and there were some flight cancellations at Boston Logan Airport. Officials today confirmed 2 backcountry skiers were killed in an avalanche in Montana yesterday. It happened near the Whitefish Mountain Resort, and when it was all over, the snow was said to be 30 feet deep in places. President Bush continued his week-long trip to the Middle East today with a stop in Saudi Arabia. It's his first visit to that country. It included talks with Saudi King Abdullah, and it coincided with the announcement of a major new arms deal with the Saudis. The president has called a major ally in the war on terror. But there are questions about how good a friend Saudi Arabia has really been to the U.S. Our senior investigative correspondent Lisa Myers has a reality check tonight.
The Saudis have waged an aggressive war against al-Qaeda within the kingdom, capturing hundreds of militants. But in other key areas, experts and U.S. officials give the Saudis low marks, charging that they continue to export the ideology of terror.
Clearly, for the United States, the #1 issue is the foreign fighters coming into Iraq.
A study based on captured al-Qaeda documents found that 41% of foreign fighters who came to Iraq last year to kill Americans were from Saudi Arabia, by far the most of any country. 6 years after 9/11, authorities also say the Saudis still have not cut off money flowing from wealthy Saudis to al-Qaeda.
The primary source of terrorist financing for worldwide terrorism is still emanating from Saudi Arabia.
Human rights groups and Saudi dissidents also complain about the pace of reforms promised by King Abdullah and say Saudi Arabia remains among the worst countries in the Middle East when it comes to religious freedom and rights of women.
The overall record on human rights is extremely low.
A Saudi rape victim was sentenced to 200 lashes and prison by Saudi courts and spared only by a pardon from the king. Lubna Hussein, an NBC News producer who has a live Saudi chat show, says the rape victim's case shows progress because Saudi women were able to speak out and did. Yet Saudi women still can't drive, can't vote, and can't work or get medical treatment without approval of a male relative.
Are they treated as independent entities or are they in control of their own lives? The answer to that is no, they're not.
A Saudi spokesman says there has been progress on terror and on human rights, but at a pace the king believes appropriate for a conservative society. Lisa Myers, NBC News, Washington.
When Nightly News continues from Los Angeles here this Monday night, our series of reports, Our Planet, and a troubling new report just out tonight about the meltdown ongoing in Antarctica. And later, the truth about boys and girls and why it often is the two sexes remember things completely differently.
Congratulations. I've never hiked the Grand Canyon. I've never biked across America. I've never won a marathon. Yet. My dream is to do extraordinary things every day.
The new 2008 Lincoln MKZ. So agile, so responsive, it can take on any challenge.
Tennis Serenity stretched their imagination and created protective underwear that hugs your body for a snug fit that provides secure protection. Tenna, the protection you trust, now in underwear.
And you'll sleep great.
I will.
You'll sleep like a baby or a lamb, like a log. Yeah, you'll sleep like
I would if I didn't have a roommate.
NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, best sleep you ever got with a cold medicine. For daytime symptoms, try DayQuil.
Who makes chicken noodle soup as good as your grandma?
I do, because I make it with Swanson broth.
Swanson broth is made with all-natural chicken stock and the flavors of garden vegetables and herbs.
My secret is Swanson broth.
For more recipes, visit swansonbroth.com.
As an investor, you want someone to be there for you and not just when the market's open or if your account is big enough. TD Ameritrade offers 24/7 phone support from licensed staff in 100 branch offices. Ask a question, get help with a retirement plan, someone's always there. With TD Ameritrade, you make your own decisions, but you're never really alone.
Call 1-877-TD Ameritrade or go to tdameritrade.com/IRA to open an easy IRA today.
After her surprise New Hampshire victory, Keith asks, has Hillary Clinton gone from battle-hardened to all heart? Countdown with Keith Olbermann, MSNBC tonight.
We're back from Los Angeles tonight with a look at our planet, and there's no more remote place on the planet than Antarctica, the ice-covered continent at the very bottom of the world. The problem is new satellite measurements show that continent's ice is melting at a surprising rate, and that could lead to trouble a lot closer to home. Here's our Chief Environmental Affairs correspondent, Ann Thompson.
The loss of Antarctica's ice is almost as staggering as its beauty, happening much faster in 10 years than scientists expected.
A doubling of mass loss in 10 years is a very rapid rate of change for an ice sheet. It's not something an ice sheet can sustain over very long periods of time.
In 2006, the Antarctic Peninsula near South America lost 60 billion metric tons of ice. 132 billion tons disappeared in West Antarctica. Big numbers that could have a big impact.
That's as though we had Lake Ontario being added to the ocean every 8 years, which is pretty significant.
But there was near zero loss in East Antarctica. Why? Columbia University oceanographer Doug Martinson points to the Antarctic Circumpolar Current, the largest current in the world, bringing warmer water to the west coast.
It's essentially a freight train full of hot coals, and these hot coals are now sliding right along the edge of the ice.
And melting the ice.
It's contributing to the melting of the ice.
Taking away the crucial buffer for the ice sheet. Dr. Robin Bell demonstrates with this sled, snow, and tray.
This is the ice shelf floating on top of the global ocean. And what happens is when the ocean warms up the ice shelf and it melts, it slides down into the ocean,
raising sea levels. Like the warming scientists are seeing in Greenland and the North Pole, the prime suspect behind the melting at the South Pole is global warming. Man-made carbon dioxide and other gases trapping heat that may well be warming the waters in the coldest place on Earth. Ann Thompson, NBC News, New York.
And a big scientific advance to share with you tonight. Researchers here in this country have taken the heart of an animal cadaver and returned it to a living, breathing heart by injecting it with living cells. It's the first time an entire heart has ever been brought to life in a lab. If the research can be expanded to humans, it could help millions in danger of organ failure of all kinds, according to scientists. When Nightly News continues here in just a moment, guess who's coming to the U.S. car market? And remember what they said about the Japanese not being able to compete here?
She used to collect pain relievers like souvenirs. There was one for overpacking in Vegas. Another one for underplanning in Texas. But then she realized she didn't need different pain relievers for different pains. Advil works on all of them. It's her every pain reliever, and nothing's proven stronger. She grabs life by the horns. And she always packs Advil. Shouldn't you be all Advil?
What's the most dramatic beauty transformation you can make in 10 minutes? Introducing Perfect 10 Hair Color, the color that changes everything.
When we have new Asian garlic shrimp and new fire-grilled tequila lime shrimp, not to mention Red Lobster classics like shrimp scampi and hand-breaded shrimp, it's not fair to make you choose just one, so we won't. For a limited time, you can pair the two that you like best together. From any of our chefs' new creations to classic favorites. Every time you visit, it's a new experience. At Red Lobster, come see what's fresh today.
Health food doesn't have to be boring. You just have to pick the right flavors. There's vanilla, ginger, nutmeg, there's cinnamon. My job at Kashi is to take the best natural flavors and put them together in tasty ways. With all the choices found in nature, boring is pretty much impossible.
Kashi, 7 whole grains on a mission.
This is the way Afrin gets rid of your congestion.
You're like this. You use Afrin once,
and you're like this all day. Nothing relieves congestion better.
So why suffer?
When there's the 12-hour relief of Afrin. Amazing.
Well, are you going to pick it or not?
It's not ready yet.
Tim and Richard Smucker grew up learning that you have to pick fruit at the peak of perfection if you want jam to taste extra delicious.
It's getting close.
For 5 generations, with a name like Smucker's, it has to be good.
The big Detroit Auto Show is underway, an opportunity for car makers to rev their engines a little bit, show off what's new in design, technology, fuel efficiency these days. But not just the American Big Three are there. Car makers from around the world, including one with an eye on a big U.S. market. Here is CNBC's Phil LeBeau.
Chinese cars, more a curiosity than an imminent threat to the Big Three. These cars at the Detroit Auto Show are a sign Chinese companies like Geely are targeting America.
Of course we're coming. Geely is coming to the North American market.
China's car industry is booming. 50 companies building 5.2 million vehicles last year, making China the 3rd largest auto manufacturing country in the world. So who buys these Chinese cars? Well, they're popular in Asia and some Middle Eastern countries like Iran, and they're just entering Europe. But winning over U.S. buyers will be far tougher.
A car is probably the most complex consumer product sold in the United States, and it's going to take a while before they get those cars well enough done to actually bring them here.
Recent crash tests in Russia of Chinese-made cars raises questions with industry watchdogs about the quality of the country's autos. Add the controversies of tainted pet food and toys with lead paint coming from China, you see why there are concerns about these cars. But at least one industry expert says within 5 years, Chinese cars will be strong enough for the U.S.
It's going to happen a lot faster than it did with the Japanese. It's going to happen a lot faster than it did with the Koreans. The Chinese are absorbing a lot of technology.
A coming challenge for American automakers already struggling to hold on to sales at home. Phil LeBeau, CNBC, Detroit.
And our friend Phil LeBeau will have much more on the world of cars tonight in a special report, the Detroit Auto Show, All Access. That's at 9 Eastern Time tonight on CNBC. Quick look at today's trading on Wall Street. Stocks rallying during trading after last week's big slide in the numbers. And we'll be back with tonight's look at the truth about boys and girls.
Bayer is helping to make life with diabetes simpler.
That's why my meter is a Contour from Bayer. It's the one meter that has everything I need and there's no coding. Now I can get back to doing more of what I want to do.
Life with diabetes, it's about going for it. My Contour from Bayer has no coding, so I can get an accurate reading and get back in the game. Let's go!
The Contour meter from Bayer. How can you make your life with diabetes less complicated? Simply Bayer.
Who makes chicken noodle soup as good as your grandma?
I do, because I make it with Swanson broth.
Swanson broth is made with all-natural chicken stock and the flavors of garden vegetables and herbs.
My secret is Swanson broth.
For more recipes, visit swansonbroth.com.
Tennis Serenity stretched their imagination and created protective underwear that hugs your body. For a snug fit that provides secure protection. Tenna, the protection you trust. Now in underwear.
Harry is a scratcher who keeps getting scratched. Harry, you need the clear solution to a healthier scalp. Maximum Strength Scalpicin with vitamin E. Not a shampoo. Scalpicin works fast to stop unhealthy scratching that can cause scalp damage with the itch medicine dermatologists recommend. Ah, the all-day confidence of a healthy, itch-free scalp. Maximum Strength Scalpicin, the clear solution to a healthier scalp.
It seems so exceptional. The things just work out after all. It's just another ordinary miracle today.
You take the time to care for so many in your life. Take a little time for yourself with the newest skincare and beauty products at CVS Pharmacy. CVS Pharmacy, for all the ways you care.
It's here, and it's flying off the shelves. Delicious Dunkin' Donuts coffee, now available in your coffee aisle. America runs on Dunkin'.
Enterprise is picking us up. Sounds expensive.
Pickup's free, Mom.
This car for the weekend looks expensive.
It's 50% off, Mom.
You ought to rent me a car every weekend.
Mom.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
New tonight on the Channel 4 News at 11. Scientists find a new strain of a dangerous and contagious infection, and it's showing up in certain people more than others. Plus, will the government be able to control your thermostat? And a new extensive study of the San Andreas Fault and the danger it poses to Southern California. Of those stories and more tonight at 11.
We're back and we're kicking off a unique series of reports tonight on what can be a controversial issue. We're calling it the truth about boys and girls. First of all, the obvious. They all grow up to be men and women, and there are obvious differences, but more similarities than a lot of people might think. Research these days is zeroing in on the brain and a connection between memory and emotion. We kick off our series here tonight with our chief science correspondent, Robert Bazell.
Scientists don't know if the difference starts at birth or gets picked up later in life. But when it comes to memory, there is a huge difference between females and males.
I was wondering if we had pictures of that.
Dick and Madeline Newman have been married 43 years. Listen to how they recall their wedding day. For Dick, it is a bit matter of fact.
I picked her up. We went through the ceremony. We had a reception, and then we took off.
But Madeline's memory of the big day is more detailed and emotionally rich.
We had to get married really early in the morning. Our car was full of balloons. At the reception, my veil caught on fire from the candles when we were cutting the cake. I know we were standing on a bench in order to get that picture.
It's not just one more thing about men that annoys women.
If we were to make it into a Mars-Venus story, it would go with that story.
And right there you have the clear difference between how men's and women's brains respond.
A very striking difference in the amygdala.
It is, in fact, the biggest difference that science finds between how men's and women's brains operate.
We think this is the most powerful result because it's been replicated across independent investigators in multiple groups of participants.
When people in a brain scanner look at pictures that spark emotions because, for instance, they are frightening or tragic, men end up storing the memory on the side of the brain where they can separate the emotions from the details. Women keep the memories on the other side.
For women, there's much more of an integration, literally in the brain, physically in terms of brain anatomy, where emotional feelings and emotional memories occur.
A few pounds lighter.
And that is how brain science explains the Newmans' different memories of their wedding day.
We'll say, did you remember this? And he'll say, yeah, and then we'll reminisce. But I thought that we kind of reminisce the same, but evidently we don't.
They don't, because of a profound difference between the male and female brain. Robert Bazell, NBC News, Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Tomorrow night, we'll try to get in even more trouble. We'll take on this topic. Are single-sex schools better at educating our children, especially our boys? And there's much more material on this series, The Truth About Boys and Girls. We've put it on our lavishly new redesigned website, nightly.msnbc.com. That's going to do it for our Monday night broadcast. Thank you, as always, for being with us. I'm Brian Williams, reporting tonight from our NBC News Los Angeles Bureau. We will see you tomorrow night from Las Vegas, the site of tomorrow evening's Democratic presidential debate. Good night.
The new nightly.msnbc.com. Complete access to your news anytime, anywhere. The new nightly.msnbc.com.
Next, Britney snaps on video, then a Golden Globes winner naked as he wins, plus the leaner, meaner Simon, and Tila Tequila takes a shot at her ex. Next.
The local news leader, the Channel 4 News at 11.
McDonald's double cheeseburger.
Man, how is that only $1?
It's on the dollar menu, dude.
But a burger like that for $1?
And they do that every day.
Yeah, awesome quality, awesome prices.
They should say that in a commercial.
Totally.
People have been asking, how did we get so much Gain freshness in our new Slimmer Trimmer 2 times concentrated Ultra Gain? Well, we shrunk the bottle, not the scent. New Ultra Gain. Longer lasting freshness in one small cap.
Round and round our legislators go, running from office to office to office, with little time to build experience.
Prop 93 breaks the cycle, giving legislators more time to do the job.
without making the legislature a career.
Prop 93 cuts terms from 14 years to 12 and lets legislators serve all that time in the Senate or Assembly. More time to solve problems.
Prop 93 strikes a balance. The benefits of term limits, the benefits of experience.
Strike a balance. Yes on 93.
McDonald's Egg McMuffin.
Whoa, 2 for $3?
Hey, that's less than your fancy pants coffee in the morning.